Content Catchup.
All right, let's do this. Welcome back, friends and enemies. You'll notice that we have a special guest today, especially if you're watching this. If you're listening, you probably haven't heard him yet. But welcome to the Social Sandwich, Edwin Smith, joining us as our third co-host. Welcome.
G'day, guys. Thanks for having me back. It's been a while. I think, did you lose my details or something? But thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. Jules. Well, we don't have any excuse for this. I'd like to give Edwin a correspondent title. What would your title like to be, Edwin?
Chief. It's got to be in there.
Muscles.
Is it like special comments, but more regular?
Yeah, like sideline reporter, but
yeah.
A bit more. Yeah, we can workshop that. Should have come up with that before.
Cool. Speaking of, that's a job in commentary I would fucking love. Just come in and just say, "Oh yeah, this is doing well," and then piss off for another 3 quarters.
Isn't that what half the expert commentators do? Like the former players.
Expert comments.
Yeah, there's not a lot of meat to what they say often.
Nah, not at all. Anyway, what have you been up to, Edwin? Give us a bit of a rundown. Since the last time we spoke to you, you got 20 seconds.
I moved to Wollongong and I have a dog now, so that's
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
What type?
It's an American Staffy.
Oh, nice. What's its name?
His name's Tyson. He's currently sleeping on the bed next door somewhere. He's a rescue dog, so he's 7. He's pretty old. He's got his own Instagram, so you can go on and check him out. He has epilepsy, so his name is Tyson the Pill Popping Staffy on Instagram.
I'm really used to disliking you, Edwin, but now that you've got a rescue dog, that you sound like you're doing quite a good thing with this universe. I'm uncomfortable. I sort of like you a bit more now.
Let's start off on the right foot before I tell you all the things you're doing wrong.
First day graphics. So we need a reminder of who the hell Edwin is. Just for the listeners that didn't listen to our, season 1 episode. So he runs a social sandwich. Go follow him. All your social media advice, the best in the business. Does that summarise it?
That's pretty nice of you, actually. Yeah, I guess.
We're friends today.
We are friends.
Now.
I guess I try and post quite openly and honestly about the things that I kind of see and I often wonder sometimes if I'm too honest about things because I always think about how being so open about it, maybe it's the same for you guys when you're kind of putting opinions out there, especially in social media, you could definitely be challenged. And I think not that people kind of do, but I'm sure people behind my back kind of go, look at this Edwin dickhead that just says all these things.
Jules is laughing because it's him.
Yeah, what an idiot. But yeah, I just try and post, tips and tricks and updates and things, but in a more, approachable way. That's a big thing for me is try not to have heaps of jargon and also try and make it a little bit interesting, not just, really boring and mundane. So, try and have a few hot takes here and there and just be quite open about things. So I post a bit on Instagram and I go through stages with Twitter where sometimes I get real keen and find heaps of stuff to talk about, and then I'll go a week or two without having anything to say and then go, oh shit, I should go and tweet some things. But who knows, maybe Twitter's just on the decline anyway with all the shit going on there. So
I was about to say, none of us might be able to use Twitter soon. It might just be all over. Interesting point. Maybe we can talk about it later as to whether any of us would actually pay $8 a month to use Twitter if we were verified, though. I guess that's the other kicker. I do say I do love your hot takes. My dad always has this saying that's any publicity is good publicity, including negative publicity. So sometimes you just got to throw shit out there and see what sticks. But before we do get mean, I do want to commend you on making your advice that you give actually very followable and accessible. What's the other word? Implementable. All the abbles
Someone's
for
been
people.
in the dictionary this week.
Probably a thesaurus, Sparks, but anyway.
It's a big thing for me where I hate doing online courses or hearing from other people where it's always top line advice where you don't really know what there's no actionable steps to do the thing. It's more just like my biggest pet peeve is like add value to your social media content. It's like, well, what does that even mean? Like that's nothing that you can actually take away and do. So yeah, for me, it's really about like things that you could actually do today to get a little bit better at your socials. And you know, a lot of the people that I speak to are kind of small businesses, often like, you know, mums or like people that don't have a heap of time to invest into social. So it's like, how you actually do these things and get a little bit more out of the small time you invest there, rather than, you know, trying to pull together a whole strategy for people and go into the real nitty gritty of things. It's more just like, here's a couple of things you can do, and that's kind of what I like to do. So cheers, mate. Look, this is
nice. This is nice. I'm sure it's going to get violent soon.
It's going to,
and that's the show, everyone.
Enough about this. You're good at your job. Well done.
I've noticed this. You can talk, we want to talk about this first because Edwin, I reckon you might have some advice. Barks, some additional wedding planning that's been going on. I see in the notes here. What's been happening?
I had to find something to talk about. So in season 4, I don't like to talk about our weeks so far, and I was going to throw to you first, Julian. But no, I've had a pretty short week. But yeah, no future planning of the wedding. So next year in March, it's all happening. I'm not sure you'll get an invite, Edwin. So sorry to you on this episode.
No, did you need my address?
It hasn't been sent out yet, so that's not just you. But no, nothing specific. If you've got any tips for me, Edwin, go for it. But basically, we've gone pretty low key. So it's actually been booked at a cafe. You may have heard of it.
So we have a venue.
Yeah, it's called McCafe. It's not.
It's going to be a Macca's kids party. Ice cream cake.
No, it isn't a cafe. So it's in Beaconsfield. Daydreamers Cafe, if anybody's listening from there. But
Daydreamers
space out the back, so it's pretty low key, but pretty mannerly. So it'll be good.
Should we have a look at this live, or is that going too far?
It's probably going too far.
Okay.
What do you have?
It will be around 80 still, so it's actually quite it's low key, but it's actually quite a nice. It's like an unassuming sort of place. You go at the back, and it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big area.
Yeah, because we got married almost a year ago today, and literally on Wednesday we are going on our delayed honeymoon. So good timing with all the chat. But we had like a list of about 110 people. But we ended up culling it right down to about 60.
Shit.
Thanks to our good friend COVID, which is kind of like good to be like, COVID, sorry, you can't.
It's actually very handy.
It actually kind of was, and it was like, we got to kind of just ditch like the weird aunties and uncles that like, you know, we kind of, like, you know, that would have been fine to have there, but it just ended up being like basically our close mates and, you know, close family. So it was great. But I think someone told me that you need to make sure you spend like a couple of minutes just like with your wife at some stage and just like take it all in, because it like obviously just goes so fast. So you like go, okay, like this is, you know, look around and make sure you kind of like take a moment, because otherwise you're just like getting pulled everywhere and you don't really get that time.
Yeah, that's the thing that I've like assumed from weddings or like observed, is it just seems like by the time you're done sort of circling everyone and making sure you've spoken to everyone, you literally don't have time just to be like, hey, we're married, like this is cool, like take it a moment.
Yeah, so doing that is big. Make sure your bridal party just give you drinks, because otherwise, again, you just like talking and then you won't ever like actually get to have a couple of drinks. So my best man was just like giving me beers the whole time.
And see an empty hand, put one in.
Yeah, it was like, so yeah, it was. I mean, I was pretty loose by the end of it, but.
We actually don't have a bridal party, and we've got no sort of formalities, so it's very like get it done.
Well, you can still nominate a professional drink giver, like the water boy.
Well, true, yeah.
I'm pretty good at it.
No, it's not 81 guests; it's 80 guests.
Well,
that's enough. That's enough about my week. Who wants to go next? Who else? What have you guys been doing? Jules, you go first.
I haven't got a lot. It was a short week. End of the AFLW season, a few drinks associated with that. I probably had one of the worst hangovers I've had in a long time last Saturday, because I'm a party legend. Shuckers.
Legend alert.
I think I want to early egg myself for thinking I am still young enough to mix 7 different types of alcohol and feel great the next day. I am not. Day after the AFLW, one of the last games or whatever, I was wake up, and with my hangovers, I always feel brilliant in the morning. Like I feel like $1,000,000, and then slowly through the day, I just degrade to a pile of shit. And it got to about lunchtime, still feeling good. I'm like, demands, let's go to the shops. We need to get X, Y, and Z, and we also need to look at some furniture for the house. Get to Northland, which is our local shopping centre, walk into one shop, and I start having the ultimate like hangover sweats. Like I'm just standing there like dripping. To the point where I had to walk out of the shopping centre and just call Mark to be like, hey, when you're done, just come find me. I'm in a pile of sweat out the front. So I want to early egg myself for not realising my limits. But on the other hand, I want to jump into a bit of a question for you two. Thoughts on Halloween in Australia in general? Because we had... where we live, there's a lot of kids, and there was a lot of like trick or treating going on. Thank God none of them came to our house. But I don't know. I used to be hugely against it, but seeing that, I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice.
Why were you hugely against it?
You hate fun, do you?
Yeah, I hate fun a little bit. I also hate youth having fun because they're so loud. I just thought it was very American, to be honest.
It's really like become a bigger thing over the last few years. I feel like every year it seems to get bigger. Like my wife, who might be listening right now, but she's like her favorite month of the year is October because of Halloween. She loves like all the spooky movies and like going to a costume party and all of that. So I think it's definitely become a bigger thing. So I'm for it, and there's cool. I always like the cool costumes as well, but like the kind of different costumes, like not the same. Like, oh, cool, you're Batman. I get it.
I'm thoughtful. Yeah.
I don't really care for it, but I can basically because I'm just not a costume person in any sense. So nothing's going to really impress me.
Don't strike me as a costume person, Barks.
No, earthy tones, plain t-shirts.
Parties are like, oh, come in this thing. I'm like, oh, I just want to go somewhere and not have to worry about what outfit I'm wearing and make sure it's a good outfit.
We had like a 90s theme 30th last night, and I thought that was perfect because that's easy. That's just like everything I own is pretty much already 90s, and if not, I am the 90s. Like,
just rock a t-shirt.
Halloween's sort of different though because you can't really like half-ass it. Like if you rocked up in like a real poor costume, people are like, "What are you doing?" I feel like if you're gonna do it, you sort of got to do it properly and like go to the full effort.
See, I think there's two levels. There's like going to the full effort, going to like minimal effort but being kind of quirky, and then getting a onesie, which is probably the lowest of like effort available,
but most comfortable.
Until you need to poo. But anyway, that's enough of that. Should we jump into some content?
Edwin's week.
We heard enough from him from the start. Honestly, he's working, eating sandwiches, surfing.
We'll actually give you 20 seconds this time.
I actually had an interesting week. So obviously, I run my own business and I work with a bunch of different like clients and people and
time's up.
That's going to be a question for you guys. So I had a client, and one of the first times basically that I've been on a retainer with this client for a while. I'm not going to obviously name names, but basically they had like a change of the person I was working with, and this new person came in and was basically like, it was an alcohol brand, and they had about 1,000 followers, and he's like, we need 10,000 followers to justify your retainer, which is like a monthly retainer. So he came in like hot and was like, the content that you saw, I was like running the content and doing all this stuff and with a few other things that we were doing. But he was basically like, yeah, we need 10,000 followers like ASAP. Let me know your plan for how we can get there. And so he kind of dropped that on me a few weeks ago, and then we spoke again on Friday or Thursday. And basically, I ended up just being like, you know what, that's the first time I've done it, but I was like, this just isn't the right, I'm not the right person to do this because it's like I just don't feel comfortable even trying to guarantee that we'll just suddenly get to 10,000 followers like this arbitrary number that he's kind of pulled. So I was like, maybe interesting to see, what would you guys have done in that situation, or like any thoughts around, like I guess setting follower targets as like the main metric on, and this is on Instagram as well.
Bucks, do you want to go first?
I'm just listening to that. I think I'd be uncomfortable with it, but like, it's probably a question back. Do you get a lot of clients focused on followers only like that, though? Like, is that a common thing?
Not really. And like, my clients vary a lot, so I don't do a lot of the kind of management because it just takes up too much time. So often I'll just kind of help them to get to a good place where they can do it themselves, essentially. And it was more like, the follower number is often a question of like, we want to get more followers, but it's the first time I've had that kind of, we need to go from 1,000 to 10,000, in the next, it's basically, he didn't give me a timeline, it was basically like next few months kind of thing. And he suggested the follow unfollow tactic. So it's like, if you follow 40 people a day, then unfollow them again in 2 weeks to, get them aware of the page. And, we can run some like competitions and all these like just red flags for me. I think decent retainer for me in terms of like money, but I was like, you know what? I think I'm at the stage now where I just don't need to have someone like that and have that like stress. It's not enjoyable to go and like spam people as well.
I think it almost sounds like it doesn't align with what you essentially do in a way. Like, wouldn't it be more about like how you entertain your following and what you probably can't dive into his reason why, but I can't really think of a valid reason.
Well, I think it's like he can justify it to other people. So he was like, obviously doing a review, coming in and being like, we pay this guy this much money for this amount of followers. The big bosses are like, well, we need more followers, so then we sell more of our product, basically. But I was like, we could get to 2,000 or a couple of thousand. Like we could do that in the next few months. It's like, no, we need 10,000.
I hate arbitrary numbers like that, because what does 10,000 followers actually mean?
Thing, right? Like, what? Because the page is actually, in terms of like the audience, it's super healthy. So we've done a lot of work like building relationships with like basically beer influencers that like review beer and are like quite active on Insta, and so the audience we have is like super engaged in the content, like super high engagement rate. So for whilst that like it looks like a small number, but they're all super engaged, and it's like cool. You could probably grow that number, but no one's going to give a shit about your brand. No one's going to just suddenly start buying your beer.
Because that's the thing, followers doesn't mean conversion, right? Like especially if they're looking at from a sales point of view, followers doesn't even necessarily mean a growth in engagement rate. It just means there's 10,000 people on this page just living, right? Like it doesn't mean
and
shit.
It wasn't even like a conversation around, because I had some ideas around content, and he didn't really even talk about that. So it wasn't like, we can grow through like some really cool content. It was just like, let's grow through like following people. And so it was a good like little like, I guess lesson, but like first for me as like essentially like knocking back work, because it didn't really align with like me and like the skills I have.
Well, you also don't want to be them to turn around and be like, that you as the social sandwich didn't hit this goal, we're not going to recommend you, when despite whatever bit of advice you gave them on like, hey, this doesn't work, right? Like if you actually are concerned about sales, let's look at some tactics on like how we can track sales through our current engaged audience, be like growing it to this point and not getting anything additional and making me look like I failed. When, it reminds me of when I was at the agency a while ago, I had this client that was like, I want to increase app downloads by like huge amounts. And I was like, well, it's not really about app downloads. It's about like app usage and app retention, because anyway, and he was just like nailing me on like getting more and more downloads. So I just cracked the shits and I ran the ads to like India and Philippines and got like thousands of downloads and sent them back to him. I'm like, here you go. Now you've got a thing. And he's like, but no one's using it. I'm like, well, what do you think? I was going to tell you that. Yeah. App shit as well. Anyway.
I think you've done the right thing.
I think,
I I think there's a skill in sort of not acting desperate, even though I'm sure it's difficult in like a small business where you want to take on whatever you can. But I think there's a skill in knocking back people.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I thought in terms of, I was just thinking about what happened in your weekend, and I was like, well, I had a fun Friday afternoon of knocking back money.
Everything you want to do on a Friday afternoon.
I've lost everything today. What? Jules, content. What do you got?
Yeah, let's get into some content. Oh, fuck, my mouse has died. Anyway, let's get back into it. So, let's bring this up. I still haven't worked out how to share sound. I'm very sorry, but we'll get there one day. We don't really need sound for this. So, I came across this a couple of weeks ago, and I've been sitting on it thinking, like, what the fuck is this really? So it's brand collaborations with sports teams. So we all know that like sports teams have partners, and partners are like, let's do some cool content with you. So this is Gillette and the Patriots. And you can see the caption here. It reads, a giant razor flying effortlessly onto the field, neon green everywhere, innovation all over the place. In case you missed it, check out Gillette Stadium, Monday Night Football. Let's watch it and I'll describe it later. You don't really need sound for this one anyway.
It's pretty subtle, hey?
For everyone at home, what we're watching is the Patriots mascot go into this like room, flick a switch, and then it flies out to Gillette Stadium, and this like animation wraps around the stadium, and then a 3D razor pops out of the middle of the ground, and that's the content.
Oh, that's it.
That's it. There's no context. There's no like. I don't know if there was something in the game that like happened or anything like that, but this is so bizarre as a post.
That's what I think of the effort the animator probably went to create this. Like,
yeah.
It's impressive.
It's a cool animation. Like
there?
if you saw that in like a TV commercial, you know how they like break apart the razor and it's like 4 blades, gel strip, all that kind of shit. Cool. But like, why is it floating in the middle of a stadium?
It's like so close to being really cool. It's just like not that like thing that is actually like content, because it's obviously like a cool design and graphics and like it looks really cool. But like I don't know, like you almost need to like shave the field with the razor or something, and like have like a bit of something to grab onto, like that's cool, rather than just like there's a floating razor.
Yeah,
that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it needs to relate to the game or something, doesn't it? Like some sort of thing after a play or something. I'm confused by it.
Yes.
I think this is like we've seen a few examples of this in the NFL where they're using a lot of that like augmented reality stuff in game, and maybe this was one of them that like popped up as a augmented thing. So the Panthers also did something like this in stadium where they had that like their actual Panther run around and like jump on the screen and stuff. Again, I think it's cool, but I don't know its place in the whole sports content mix. I feel like it's just a lot of, lack of a better term, dick swinging of like how cool can we make this animation, but it doesn't add any value to anyone. I'm sick of watching it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's just like, we got to do something. It's like too obvious. It just feels a bit like just doing it purely for the sponsor, which you are, but at least try to surely go with an idea that's actually going to relate somehow.
Do you remember when like 360 cams came out for the first time, like the old ones, and every club was like, or every team was like, oh, we've got this great 360 cam, and they just like put it in the middle of something and not really have a plan on how they were going to use it?
Yeah.
That's what AR feels. Yeah. That's what it kind of feels like at the moment. They've all these people with AR and AR capacity, but don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah. No, agreed.
But anyway, weird brand collabs.
Next, get about the overtime, right?
Yeah, you'd hope so. You'd definitely hope so. Anyway, the next one I've got, quick one. Have a look at these photos, Barks. I feel like you'll appreciate them. This is from a fight in hockey that happened a couple of weeks ago. I believe there's actually the video of the fight. So these two guys have been jarring all series, and it just like rolls out into, as soon as the play starts, they just go straight for the fight. And you can kind of see in the background here where the cameraman is, that little hole there. And I think there's another one back here. So he's just here. You can see him pop up there.
Yeah. I thought this was the sport where they had actual physical holes for the camera.
They do. You can see the hole just underneath this guy's arm. But look at him go. Like, look at this cameraman go. And this is the shot. Like, it's just insane.
This is really strange to me. Like, why in this day and age is fighting in like a sport that's not a fighting sport still like empowered? Like, I don't get it. Like,
yeah,
why are they still allowed to do this, and why do we all like have fun watching someone getting their head punched in like, in this day and age? I don't get it.
I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think it's like it's a great photo. Like, you'd be happy if you're this Rangers guy. I don't know how you'd feel if you were old mate getting his head caved in. But yeah, it is a weird one.
I wish NBA was like this. Go to the basketball court.
It would be Russ absolutely punching on with everyone that says he's shit. That would be the NBA one. Yeah. But again, I think it's a good example of right place, right time, taking advantage of the moment and just going with it. That's like, you saw how hard he was working as well to get the shot. I thought that was pretty cool. Just millions of photos.
I love that both those examples they're using the collab on Insta as well, like with the two accounts. Like, I still feel like so many like big accounts here in Australia just aren't using it very well. Like, it's just such a useful tool where you get the like double exposure to two different pages.
Do you know, Edwin, I asked this, I don't know if I asked or both of you, if Bleacher Report posts with whoever BR open, whatever, does that go to the second page's followers, or does it just show on their profile?
No, it goes to their followers. So it goes like onto their feed. So basically, you're getting both exposed to both audiences.
I swear someone told me, it might have been Darren if you're listening, Tosso won't lie to me. I swear he said it just shows up on the second person's feed, but I mean their grid or their profile.
Well, I don't follow BR Open Ice, so I got this through Bleacher Report.
Yeah, no, but just in terms of how it actually works.
No, because it definitely goes onto BR Open Ice, onto their feed as well.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So you can tell Darren he's
more engagements. Like I've done it for smaller brands where you collaborate with like a bigger brand, and then all of a sudden you're like, likes and comments go up by 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good feature.
Yeah, top 5 tip to use. I reckon like we started doing it across a couple of our posts from AFL to AFLW, and you notice like the boost in followers. It's also handy for when you're posting the same thing across 2 accounts, so like Christmas messages, or like we did something for Halloween recently where we just collaborated rather than have to go onto both accounts and share it for no reason. Just easy.
Do you guys do it with like players?
We've done it a few times.
I raised this the other week. But
yeah.
It's such a good thing to it's such a great idea to do that. Eh?
Yeah.
Free advice for you. Tip number 2.
use your players' audiences because they're much better than it.
Like player re-signings or like highlights and stuff.
It's funny. I feel like our players aren't that keen on collabing with Carlton unless it's something really cool. Like highlights and player re-signings, perhaps not. But like if there's cool photos from trainings, like Barks, you've done a few with some of the on your own, haven't you?
Well, not I haven't done any collab posts, but I think, I was going to say, I don't think it suits like a highlight reel or like a re-sign, or maybe a re-signing, but like the behind the scenes photos, game day photos, and then letting them potentially caption it. Because that's the other thing I always think about. Like, it probably doesn't, why do they want something on their feed that the club's captioned a bit oddly, unless it's real generic, like debut. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's coming from the club's perspective.
Yeah, maybe it goes from the play side then.
Yeah, maybe
But then
they
they're
need to
not gonna
drive.
post
Yeah,
it.
they don't post. Yeah. Although if they have been getting better, Barks, like speaking from our players' perspective anyway, if we send them photos and perhaps just said, hey, can you collab with us on this one? Just like when you post it, perhaps they'd be more likely to do that because they have been posting more.
Yeah, depends who it is, but I agree, and I think it's a great tool. And I've seen other clubs in the AFL world starting to use it a lot more. I don't know if what you've seen with like NRL and rugby, but it's good.
Yeah, it's definitely happening a little bit more, but still not like as much. Because I think there's benefit just for both the club and the players, right? Like you can sell it to the players as getting exposed to a new audience, like a way of having like that good content appear on their page as well. Like so many benefits.
Yeah, or if a player signs with a new club, people know where to go. Like follow the new player.
Yeah, that's super
especially
easy.
if they're like a draftee or something. All right, my turn. You done, Jules?
Yeah. Let's move on. We've waffled on.
Okay,
Let's have a look at this. What's this?
This was just a really good piece of content. Nothing, probably not too much of a talking point apart from the old phone piece of vision. It's a 2-minute video, so you don't need to.
I'll just play it in the background.
Yeah, you can turn the sound off. But basically, the South East Melbourne Phoenix NBL team here in Melbourne have got someone filming their. I don't know if it's their kid or they've purposely gone out of it way for a content piece, but it's basically this real wholesome video of this kid, all his raw reactions to the game, his first ever game at the NBL. It's really cool, and it's sort of, yeah, it's really, really wholesome, and one of those bits that you just think, yeah, well executed, like whether it was planned or not. But and then one of their players, probably their best player, Mitch Creek, has commented, you can see in that blue tick, I know where my shoes are going to go. Next home game, let's make sure it happens. This is beautiful. And I just wanted to say that content is the winner here, because I don't know if this is planned, but I think it's really cool that it's sort of created this connection with their fans, and specifically one kid. And Edwin, yes, it's on a phone again. So I think
Do we think this is on a phone though?
I think so.
Yeah, it looks.
Yeah.
That looks maybe like a GoPro, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It looks pretty steady.
Yeah, but I think we'll talk about this later. But I think clubs and other accounts are going out of their way to specify things being filmed on a phone, because there's just so much more. We'll talk about this last week. It was when it's refined and more of a finished product, it just doesn't give you that wholesome rawness that this does.
It's part of my controversial call, so we'll chat about it later. Yeah, we'll save it for then.
Last point to this. Does anybody see any watermarks on videos anymore? I found this odd, like team watermarks.
I hate watermarks.
Yeah.
What's the point? Everyone knows you're posting it.
I don't know. And you can, I suppose with this one, you can't really crop in too much, but if a media broadcaster wanted to use it, they'd just find a spot where you can't see the logo.
But like, I don't really get that, because if it goes from like the news or an external channel, you already know it's of this kid who's a Phoenix fan at a Phoenix game. Like, surely they're still getting the same exposure and credit.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
I don't know.
Where that tiny little watermark's there. Anyway, it's a bit of a hate of mine, I think.
Do they put them on their phones?
I'm on board with that.
Thanks, Edwin. Thanks for being
No watermarks. To pick this video apart, 2 minutes long. Is that too long?
Way too long.
Yeah.
You're seeing a lot of the same reactions. Like
it's obviously good content, but like,
I think, and this is where I think the analytics can be a total lie. Like, if this was 10 seconds of the best 3 reactions, imagine how many views that would have, and then it's almost like playing the system.
Yeah, 100%.
But also, sorry,
it's weird because that might not have. I still get confused at the moment, like if a 2-minute video goes into like the Reels world or not. So it might not have got that like extra exposure you get from Reels because it's longer. But I think all videos are Reels now. Yeah,
all videos are Reels.
Because when you try and upload, like the only way you can upload them over 90-second videos through like your business suite or creator studio, I'm pretty sure. So then it like does it more as like a square video, because on your phone you only have 90 seconds. So it's a weird thing where I'm like, there's something. So it's like
they still show up as a square, don't they? Like, I've seen people still upload Reels, but they're square, and you just see black borders.
I'm more just saying for like
Anyway.
that exposure you get within reels, and even so, like that long, because it was so long. Like you can see, like it's great content, right? But like less views than what an interview with the coach.
Yeah. That's true.
And how long does this go for? Let's just look at this for. Oh, this is 2 minutes 20 as well. Jesus.
Cut down the videos, Phoenix.
Yeah, need to have a word with them.
2 minutes.
Yeah,
that's like a feature-length film.
Well, and then for reference,
Edwin,
10 seconds here.
Video for Carlton coming out soon.
Oh well, that's like at least you'll sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
but you wouldn't put 18 minutes on Instagram, would you?
No, I don't think you could. Like physically,
and 3 parts.
Physically, couldn't bring myself to it.
In a carousel with 3 different parts. Fuck, that would be so annoying.
No, it'd be about like 8 different grids to make this bulk film. So
a grid, and we could like just use one picture across all.
No,
Oh dear.
All right, that's fine.
Are we done? Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, good content, but make it shorter.
It's still very, but yeah.
And no watermark.
And we get rid of watermarks, yeah.
All right, it's our favourite segment time.
Did I send you through my boss of the week? Because I've got one if you want to.
Oh,
of course.
Let me. Did you send it via Insta?
Oh no, I haven't done that.
Yeah, just chuck it in Insta and I'll grab it from there. Slide into our DMs. But in the meantime, let's jump into our other favourite segment, Egg of the Week. Now, Bucks, you're kicking this on. What is this?
Yeah, I wanted to. It's technically 4 episodes, but I'm glad you're here for this, Edwin. Do you remember the reel we put up when we kicked off season 4?
You're really testing my my knowledge.
Literally, Jules picking up an icon from the computer and putting into like season 4 in this real shitty quality phone video. You commented on it, and I forgot to egg him for it because it's probably the worst reel I've ever seen. And
it was purposely bad.
I'm sort of proud. Yeah, I know, but I'm sort of proud of it because I know that's the angle you're going for. But I just wanted to raise it because I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I sort of love it.
Shit content is good content, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. No,
if it makes people angry, as my dad said, and the advice I keep going, any publicity is good publicity.
True. Do you want to? I've got a quick other one while you find yours.
Yeah.
But the WNBL season.
I'll send you on Insta.
Sweet.
Okay. My second one of the week.
My egg as well.
My second one of the week, third time lucky, is the WNBL stream quality. So the WNBL is the Women's Basketball League in Australia, for those that aren't basketball fans. But that kicked off this season, and there's a bit more excitement around it. There's a new sponsor, a new sort of name of the league. But then the stream quality this week was just god awful. Like I just found myself being frustrated by it because they're trying to like promote the exposure and sort of what these athletes deserve. And it's a really good comp. Like I actually went to the State Centre last night to see the Southside Flyers first game of the season, and like the skills are so good, but then you tune into their stream, and it's actually on 9 now, I think, so people can easily watch it, but it's literally like 480p, just multiple pixels walking around. You can't see anything, and it's just really disappointing. So I'm sending a massive egg their way.
Do you think that's like a lack of funding, or do you think that's just no one's picked up on it?
Well, no, there's plenty of people picked up on it, but it's through Jam TV, which I think did a bit of digging, and they've subcontracted it to probably a smaller company. But Jam TV looks after the NBL, so to me, there's no reason why it's the same company. There's no reason why it can't be to the level of the NBL.
I think have a word with Darren. That's the second word we've got to have with him.
Well, he's the NBL, not the WNBL, but just for the fun of having Darren, I might do it.
Yeah. Pick it up, Darren. Now, Edwin, I'm guessing the League Central on Twitter is the egg of the week?
Yeah, then the other one is our
boss.
Of the week.
All right. Do you want to talk us through this?
Yeah, we're doing egg of the week first. Okay.
Yes.
This is so firstly, like I'm a big fan of clubs showing a bit of like club accounts, showing personality, having like fun, pushing the boundaries on social, because I think you need to do more than just like here's a highlight from the game. Because I just think that people want more than that. But I think this example here from I think this was a MacArthur FC, so the A-League team, and they basically posted a TikTok that was basically ripping on the ref and like a decision that, like a red card decision that he made. So calling him the problem as to why they lost the game. And like part of me, I'm like, I like that they're kind of like pushing the boundaries and like really like I think social media should be fun, but I just don't know if it's at the referees. Like if making fun of referees is the right thing to do, and I think there's a bit of like a culture in Australia, at least in like rugby league especially, but amongst sports fans that I see where people are just like they just blame the ref for everything. They go, "Oh, we lost," but because the ref, it was their fault. And I think that just kind of leads into that, that mindset, which I'm sure they weren't meaning to do. So, it struck me as like a good idea, but just came out.
Like what else could you possibly try and do with that though? Like I don't think your fans would respond well to that, surely, if you're like you said, the Australian culture of it's the ref's fault we lost the game. Like they could have something to do with it. But I don't think if I was a fan, I get what you're saying that it's sort of pushing the boundaries, but I don't know. That doesn't sit well with me, I don't think.
Yeah, it just kind of sets the ref up to be back, because obviously the fans are going to be like, yeah, he's shit, he sucks.
Yeah.
And then, it just does a bit,
swing and a miss. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. It's unnecessary, right? Like it's almost trying to make this trend fit for something.
Yeah.
But
like if it was more subtle, maybe that's why it's bad. Like there's no subtleness in it. It's just like, that's the problem. We lost because of that guy.
But even like to Edwin's point, like we can't. You can't just like pin it on one individual, like, and the referee as well, when there's such a problem. Like it's justifying fans to like behave in a certain way towards.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, good find. MacArthur, pull your fucking head in. Be better. I've got two quick ones before we jump into Boss. This one was weird. So team selection in the AFLW is always 24 hours before the game. So like if you're playing on a Friday night, you'll release the team on a Thursday. Our friends over at Collingwood have gone 24 hours earlier than that. So they've gone 48 hours before the game when it's supposed to be 24 hours and released their team for an elimination final. Now, is this a smart tactic in like they've gone, ooh, like let's fuck with the opposition and see whether we can get them to think we're putting in a couple of players, or have they just completely messed this up and gone on a Thursday night thinking that that's the right time to go?
No,
we'll never know. I think it's a mess up.
Yeah, we'll never know.
It's not this conspiracy theory, Dan. I thought we might be able to have one.
It's not deeper than that, Jules.
All right, so Paddy, if you're
this will
listening,
create a good conversation.
Paddy, pull your head in, mate. Get your team selection right, or send us a message and let us know what actually happened here.
Yeah, that's fair.
The other one I wanted to bring up, Edwin, I saw you tweeting a little bit about this, and you're going to have to forgive me because I'm not 100% across it. But the World Cup, the Australian World Rugby Cup, and no one tweeting about the game, or no one having no social media presence. Can you explain what went on there?
The Rugby League World Cup is happening right now, which, it's my least favorite part about this podcast is the lack of Rugby League chat on it. Just because of this time.
We don't know anything.
Look, there's tons to worry about. So the World Cup's happening. It's not as big as other World Cups. It's still, obviously it's still kind of growing in terms of the teams, but especially the last few years, like the international game has grown quite a bit. Like there's, Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, all like pretty decent now, whereas it used to just be like no one cared because it would just be Australia, New Zealand every time because they were just the two best teams. Maybe England occasionally, but they basically, it started a couple of weeks ago, and just everyone started noticing that the official Kangaroos team did not post about the Kangaroos game. It was 12 or a solid time after the game had finished before they said anything. So they posted a few things in the lead up to it, like some really like basic, you know, like the game's on tonight kind of thing. But then there was no updates during the game. It's on at like a pretty funky time. So I think it was either like midnight or 4 a.m. I think the games are. So obviously like a weird time to be like up and doing like live tweets. But I think it was like in the afternoon the next day, and everyone was like, there's literally been nothing from the official account. So it was just one of those weird things where it's like, you know, did they forget to like put someone on to do the socials for it? Like, because they also a couple of years ago like laid off a heap of the like digital staff from the rugby.
Right.
It was like the NRL who like run the comp. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it as well, like just not having enough people around. But yeah, it was just a weird thing, and a few people picked up on it, and I was like, yeah, that's strange, very strange.
Pretty poor for like an international event to have no coverage, is it? Like,
I think they just did like a photo, and it was like a great win for the Kangaroos, and everyone's like, the game was over 12 hours ago. Your photos for scoring a try is all you're putting out. Like.
God, you just wouldn't get away with that with any other sport, like, especially in Australia, like, considering how crazy sports fans are. You got to give people what they want, and if they want coverage, you've got to have it somehow, even if you don't have the right amount of staff.
Game 1 of the WNBL finals, again, go back to WNBL eggs, but last season started game 1. And the WNBL finals, not one tweet for the whole game from the main like league account, so it's not this thing.
And we're not sitting here going like you need to do play-by-play coverage, right? We're all firmly opposed to that, but like something during the game to just let the fans know that there's life going on.
Yeah.
Big eggs.
All right.
Hopefully they
Big
solve
eggs.
that.
Let's get into some positives. Boss of the week. Boss. Who wants to kick us off?
Well, Bucks, do you need screen share?
No, I don't. Why
don't you go first, and then we'll tee it up for Edwin.
Okay. For some reason, everything's WNBL, but I saw the Southside Flyers. I don't know if they're intentionally doing this, but their score graphics now posted as reels, and it's literally just their old score graphic template, but they've put a bit of like texture, like dust blowing in the background. I don't know. This is just a mess with the algorithm. I don't even know if it would work, but they're posting it as reels, and it looks stupid. But I put it in Boss because I thought maybe they're just trying to get more views on it.
I'm going to bring this up because this definitely does need a screen share if we're going to talk about it.
Well, it's just literally smoke swirling in the background.
Oh dear! So it's these ones,
put a link
is it?
there.
That's all right.
Yeah,
I found it.
There they are. Bit of motion in the background.
Okay. I think they're posting them as videos. I think this comes back to what you're saying, Edwin. Like everything that you post of the video is now real.
Look at the views on the final score.
They're doing it. A 3/4 time graphic.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that's an egg. I don't know why they're doing that. Half time as well. Like we've talked about this, Jules. Scrap them all.
Yeah, it's a scrap.
Yeah, that's one of my hot takes. I think that.
Yeah,
it's quarter time. It's literally 2 minutes later.
The shelf life of like losses as well. So what's the point?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is a boss, Sparks.
Boss because I think it's funny. Of trying to get more stats.
It's not even formatted for reels. Like it's still in that kind of square size.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely like 3/4 egg, maybe slight boss. So I've just put it boss.
That's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
After you've just like slammed the WNBL for absolutely everything else.
Yeah, true. Balance it.
All right. Let's talk through this one, Edwin. I saw you tweet about this the other day. Do we need sound for this? Because if so, I'll send you out the link.
No sound.
Okay, perfect. Let's play it through.
Oh yeah, that thing definitely isn't formatted for phone, so it still has like ugly.
Egg.
Yeah, that's an egg.
So I'll trust my boss.
So basically, there's a new NRL team coming in. It's not next year; it's the year after. And to be honest, I've been like watching their socials really intently just to see like what they've been doing. It's been pretty average up until this video, where they basically kind of created this group chat, which is like not a new idea, but they just did they did it in a really kind of fun, really like personalized way. Like they got a little additions of like players that film stuff and like, you know, said a few things. Like this guy's in his like little jersey. A little joke in there, which was they added Cameron Munster, who's the Storm player who was supposed to be going there, but then re-signed with the Storm. So they're like, "Oops, didn't mean to put you in the group," and like removed him from the group. And so it's also a really cool way to kind of basically they're announcing like a bunch of players that will be on their team. So it's kind of like a team announce like new signings or like existing signings all in like one place. So rather than like, you know, here's the lineup for the Dolphins, it was like just a different way of kind of presenting it, but with a few little in jokes, some like, you know, personality thrown in. So I just thought it was like such a good good piece of content. I loved it.
That's actually pretty like good. I didn't realize that went for a minute and a half, but just watching that, like, it doesn't feel that long.
Yeah, and it's the interesting thing that I noticed after as well, which is another thing that I've been thinking about lately, which kind of goes back as well to this idea of like posting score graphics. But I just think the time of day when you post content doesn't matter as much anymore as like posting cool content. So you can see this is actually posted at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Which I don't really understand the thinking there, like why it was posted at that time. Like I think it was like some kind of like new dawn of like something, maybe it was happening that day or like 1st of November, like maybe they're starting something.
Time it was 12:01, but it's like daylight's. Like see how the actual thing is 12:01. Maybe they've gone.
Because they are in Queensland, so maybe there's like a daylight savings thing. But whatever reason, I think they have tried to have like, the timing, but you can still see like the results were
great,
really good on the same with Instagram. It's like if you can post something at 1 a.m. on Twitter where like no one's awake and still get like really good results, you know, should we be stressing about finding like people still ask me this all the time, like, oh, when's like the right time to post something? It's like it's not like 3:45 on a Tuesday afternoon is like the sweet spot. Like maybe there was like a really like a perfect time, or you could be more strategic with it a few years ago. But now I think it's like, you know, if it's good content, it's going to work.
Do you think? Sorry, Bucks.
Sorry. I was going to say, what do we think of doing all the player announcements and team announcements in one, as opposed to stretching it out like a team might do, like one player signing after the other, and possibly getting more of fan interest doing one by one rather?
They'd already announced most of them, like separately.
Oh, okay.
But this was kind of almost like grouping them all together as like, here's all the stuff that we've announced. Like, I don't know if there was any. I haven't been following close enough to know if there was any like new announcements in here. Like most of it was like already public knowledge, but it was kind of just like pulling it all together. Like, so you're kind of watching, going, "Oh, that's right. Like they signed that player and that player and that player. Like that's interesting." So yeah, they still had the like specific, you know, your graphic, which is like this dude is signed and
no, I
think there's also like cool little bits of content that you could pull out of their Bucks, like you said, Edwin, there's a few like player messages and stuff. So if you're looking to extend the shelf life of this, there's separate posts you could grab.
Yeah.
Back to the time thing. I think it's like, I think there's two arguments to be had for like posting at certain times. One is like, if it's something that people are expecting at a specific time every week, like consistency. So team selection is a good one. Like everyone knows that it comes out at Thursday at 6:30 and they're looking for it. I think that's a good argument for posting at specific times. But aside from that, if you have a rough idea of when your fans are online, that might help. But algorithms just chuck it anywhere anyway, don't they? Like it's not.
Yeah, because even I always think like if you know, most people on Instagram are online between like 6 and 8 o'clock roughly. But like it doesn't mean you post at 8 o'clock and that's suddenly going to like be super effective, because it's probably still going to be getting like served the next day.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it worth stressing that much about when you post it versus like just getting your content right?
Yeah, having timely content.
I was hoping you would disagree with that one and we could have a bit of a fight, but maybe we'll have to keep working on something.
We'll find something to fight about.
What would we fight on this about?
I don't know. I came in a fight and there's been nothing.
There's a segment to go. There's a segment for this, and it's coming up. So just hold your horses.
We got time to fight, don't we? And speaking of fighting, it's time. It's time for the controversial call.
The easily said controversial.
The controversial.
Should we run over some old ones first, Jules? Get them crossed off. Have Edwin have a right of reply.
I think we can just jump straight into it. Birthday graphics. Let's just solve this one now. Let's nah. I'm not forbidding them. Both of you can get fucked.
No, well, the argument, Edwin. So I mostly agree with you, but the argument that we came up with last year is that you can't argue with the interaction and how much fans love them. So, like, it's easy wins. So why would you not do it if you know you're going to get good responses and people loving it?
I think you could do it, but just do it better. Like I was saying, I can't remember. Maybe we'll talk about it on Twitter, but I'm not expecting everyone to know every tweet that we.
Why don't you know?
But like, instead of just a graphic, like, can you film like a little video? Or can you turn into like a more interesting piece of content that probably gets you more engagements than what a kind of stock photo of a player you have with like a little birthday cake emoji or like whatever people do? Because like, you're probably right that people do. Fans are like, yeah, happy birthday. I'll give that player a like, and it probably gets you, those engagements that are important. But I don't know. I think there's a better way of doing it than
the effort to do it. The effort to do that creative idea for every player, that would just be like, I just don't think it would be time well spent. Like, I totally agree with you in theory. And we were saying like last week, like if you've got a big player like LeBron, you do something pretty cool. You do an actual cake or whatever it might be that you actually film something. But then Jules was saying, okay, so what if there's like a guy on the bottom of the roster, it's his birthday? And I just said, my response was, don't worry about him. I know it sounds funny, but you don't need to equal it. Put it up in a story.
Yeah, because like obviously the higher the caliber of the player, the more engagements they're going to get, right? Because people know them and would be more likely to engage with them. But yeah, look, you have counted my point pretty well there, I think. I know.
Just exit the chat.
Because pull an old Cam Munster, just leave the chat.
It's an easy win because every club does it, right? So there's a reason why we'll do it. But yeah, maybe just every now and then if you throw in something a little bit different. Then...
Yeah, see, I've been thinking about this. It's been keeping me up all night. And I've gone past my anger of being just furious at both of you for this stupid opinion. And I've tried to pull some solutions out of my brain. So I've got three ideas of like what we can do that's better. So you keep graphics for players that haven't been at a team for more than 2 years, right? So like rookies, first year at the club, and maybe low profile players, they still get something. They just don't get like the ultimate, whatever it might be. Your top tier players that are celebrating milestone birthdays, like 25, 30, 21, even, let's say, like the big ones, you get like something on team photo day that's a bit more personalized. So it might be like balloons or like big number cutouts, or if you're super organized, you get fans to submit like birthday messages and they can get read out to them on their birthday. Oh, not on their birthday, but like on team photo day, film it, and they'll be like, oh, this is nice, like birthday wishes ahead of time, whatever it might be.
No.
I know, I've got one more idea, dickhead. Wait.
Okay. Finish.
Third idea, easy Vox Pop idea, on team photo day as well. You find out the pairs of friends that are really good, and you ask them like, okay, if you were to get them a birthday present, what would it be? What type of cake do you think they'd eat? And you just go around and you ask them like that. Simple 3 ideas. Can still keep the graphic for low stakes birthdays, so mums don't ring the club and say, why aren't you celebrating my son's birthday?
That'd be good.
Everyone's happy.
So your third one's all right. but the rest, it's too serious. This is not a significant milestone. I don't think you need this celebratory, serious messages to camera or balloons or anything. You got to take the piss. It's a birthday.
Okay, that's fine. We just smash
Do you
cakes
agree?
into everyone's face. Like, is that what we're going to do?
It's
Tripper,
not
happy
serious
birthday.
enough. It's not. It's just a birthday. It's meant to be a bit of fun. You don't need heart-to-heart messages about this guy turning 23. Who gives a shit?
That's why I said milestone birthdays, dickhead. Don't you listen?
But it's too serious. It's not a career achievement.
Another year around the sun. Yeah, good one.
You want a, like a 10-minute masterpiece. Alright, so we haven't really solved it.
The vlog spot idea is fun and pretty easy to achieve, right? Just get someone to say what they need, and there's some easy content in there.
It's like it's like the Christmas one. Like, what's your favorite Christmas present? What's your worst Christmas present? What gift would you like to give?
What about a dorky mum message from everyone's mum? Like selfie, just wishing them happy birthday.
What if they don't like their mum?
What's called their dad? I don't care. Just
can they nominate someone else's mum to like receive a message?
Dial in a mum.
Super embarrassing message from the mum, like, we're so proud of you, like kissing the camera and stuff like that.
But
Can't wait to celebrate this one.
In the bottom right corner, not actually Patrick Cripps' mum. Actress. Right.
This is just Mon.
It's the same mum. It's the same mum for every
different
player.
weeks.
See, that would be funny though.
Oh dear.
See, that's content.
Yeah, no one used that.
Generic mum for every birthday.
Oh dear.
Alright, we got any new ones? I've got one, but do we want to?
What do you got?
Do you have one?
One.
What?
Go new one.
Do my new. My one is that LinkedIn is fun now.
Oh fuck! LinkedIn has been fun for years.
Well, maybe I'm a bit late, but I found myself looking through LinkedIn and enjoying it. I don't know if anyone's going to argue. It doesn't sound like it. Just wanted to say that one.
What were you using it for? Like, what were you scrolling through for?
Now, or what was I? Because I've never really looked at it.
No, like now, like
just...
the other day when you were scrolling through LinkedIn and decided it was fun.
Well, it's probably more people sharing what they're doing in a more serious, insightful manner, whether it's in the freelance world of like their own startups or what they've contributed. I think I probably notice more people posting like about what they've done in Clubland, for example, but their own personal, whether it be a podcast or something. And I just think it's more of a. I think I used to find Twitter. People used to write more lengthy things on Twitter about celebrating their own work, but I think now I enjoy scrolling that on LinkedIn.
I like it. I like the take, and I'd love to disagree with it, but I can't, because I feel the same way. I feel like the last couple of years, for me as well, like I enjoy kind of going on there and reading a little bit more of the like personal side of the work that people do, and I think as well, there's been a bit of a change in like the LinkedIn platform where it's more of like a content place now, whereas it used to just be like connect with and network, and the stuff that people did post was like pretty garbage, whereas now I think there's also been like a bit of a shift, I reckon, like in the more like the last 4 or 5 years, but I think we as like media types are more like we're more likely to actually speak about the things we're doing. And I feel like I remember when I first started in social media, like people would tell me like, well, you're the person behind the account, so no one can ever know that you're the one running that account. So like, you keep it to yourself. It was like a kind of a secret because ruin like the magic of who was running these pages, whereas now we're kind of like more open to go, oh, this is the page I run and this is the thinking behind this post. And I guess that kind of was on Twitter as well, but you've seen that a bit more on LinkedIn, and it's a real like American thing that I'm happy now like more Aussies are doing, like especially in this industry, right, where like you guys have this great podcast where you actually dissect and talk about content and the work that you're doing, where I think for a long time we were kind of scared to be like, hey, this is like the cool stuff that I've done, and even that like self-promotion, I think people are still, maybe less so now, but they used to be really kind of, I guess, scared of talking about and being like, I made this cool piece of content, So
Yeah.
happy that I made this. Here's the thought process behind it.
It's
It
the
was
tall
almost like a
poppy
mystery
syndrome.
element. Yeah, tall poppy syndrome. And it was almost
Yeah.
like a mystery element of, as you said, who runs this account, who's made this awesome graphic. Oh, we don't actually know. Nobody will put their hand up.
Yeah.
For the sake of being controversial, though, I want to agree that LinkedIn is a fun place because I love LinkedIn, but my God, it's full of a lot of wankers that are.
That was going to be my.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
There's a great Twitter page called
State of LinkedIn.
State of LinkedIn.
My God.
Twitter page is just full of like the best, like, the best worst people. I think that it's very American, so there's a lot of like entrepreneurial. Kind
Yeah.
of
I wake up at 4 a.m, have 2 eggs, and then I go for a run. And on this run, I meditate for half an hour. And then by the time I get back to the office, I'm so grounded and ready to grind out the day. And if you're not living like this, you're a dickhead. This is what success looks like. That's my favorite LinkedIn, but it's also like, yes, I think LinkedIn can be a good place, but I feel like it needs to transform, and especially with people in our industry, don't take it that seriously. Like my controversial call is like professionalism is one thing, but personality and professionalism combined should be more obvious. Like show who you are, show the work you've done, be really happy with it, but don't feel like you need to do it in this like formal way that doesn't show who you are as a person, because it's like a mini resume, your LinkedIn, like of all the stuff that you've done, and an easy way to get ahead. And we all know that this industry is all about networking and connections that you make. I
can't argue with. I don't think that applies to just LinkedIn. I reckon that applies everywhere, though. Like you want to stand out, showing who you are. Like, I can't really think of somewhere where you have to post ultimately professional, unless it's like a website.
Emails.
Website.
LinkedIn is that place, right, where you do have to be a bit more like professional with like what you talk about, because it is a bit more of like a professional network, I feel. But yeah, I think you're right, Jules, where it's like you don't just want to go like that full corporate, boring kind of like like corporate speak versus actually having a bit of your personality. Because there's something actually that because obviously I'm quite like loose, especially on something like Twitter, where I'll just like fire off my like opinions and takes. Whereas when I go to LinkedIn and try and talk about things, I have to kind of go, right, I can't be as like fired up and controversial here, because I do need to have that like still position myself as like an expert and still show that personality, but it's definitely like dialing it back slightly.
Yeah. Well, Jules, you take the piss out of the corporate speak. I like that approach.
Yeah, I just end up commenting on all my family members' achievements and wishing them well.
Love it. I love the
Click the recommended things, Jules. Like, don't they have the automated like recommended responses?
Some of them, no, but most of them I type out myself. That's how easy it is to be.
Just sounded
like a LinkedIn wanker.
I have a few mates where we see, you can have that in the messages as well.
Yeah.
Where we have conversations, but they're like auto-generated chats. So it's like, congrats on your work anniversary. And then we'll have like a back and forth for 5 minutes where it's just whatever the message, like the words say. So, thank you. Hope you're well.
I do that with AJ for work sometimes, Jules.
Yeah.
I
always get it from my boss, Gav, who's like similar to Bucks, not very like, doesn't show a lot of emotion via Teams. So he doesn't look like use any punctuation, but I'll always get the thanks, great, with an exclamation mark. And I'm like, that's definitely just hit the exclamation mark.
Still some flaws with LinkedIn. Still some weird bits about it.
Yeah. It's as a platform, like it's a bit strange, but I think it's growing.
Yeah. Okay. Who had the last one in here?
What?
Who had the last controversial call about the fan footage or selfie footage? Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's me. I think we kind of discussed it a little bit, and just weary that we've been talking for an hour and 11 minutes now. This might be the longest show that we've ever had. I just think like let's stop wasting time with fan footage and stuff that's not shot on a mobile phone, unless you're shooting it for like high quality ads that are going on TV or like on a big screen somewhere. I feel like phone footage submitted by fans or players or whatever it is way more personal than sitting them down in the studio and making them feel uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, but there's surely a contract signing or a press conference that you still need a camera.
Yeah, but that's like really media based, isn't it? That's not.
Oh, I thought you were saying like just throw out all the good cameras.
yeah, I'll throw you out as well, Bucks.
That's what Edwin said. You tweeted that, didn't you?
Everything on the phone now.
Okay, so a coach gets fired. You want someone to be like, all right, how are you feeling about the press conference?
Will you
with all the media
interview the coach after he got fired?
Well, no, the press conference. The press conference.
Get a gimbal for your phone so there's a bit of stability.
Yeah. just lean it up against something as well.
Get the coach to hold the phone and do like a little selfie of
Just do it on Instagram Live as well.
I agree that you're seeing it more and more that people should think of certain types of content as phone videos. Like, don't always bring the real cameras out there because they're just so much more engaging, I think.
Yeah.
And I think further to that, I didn't have a controversial call.
Nice.
But I've thought of one now, and it's I hate overly designed graphics and things like Canva at the moment. So I'm just off a really like well-designed image, basically. I want more of the like, if you could have a selfie with the players to promote a game, or like a really cool graphic, or like heaps of like, nicely designed words, and it's especially I think it's more of a thing for like the small businesses that I work with, right, where they will design like a flyer in Canva to promote something, and just like people just switch off instantly because it looks like an ad.
Yeah.
So I'm off Canva. I'm off anything that's designed. Just take a photo on a phone, and that's
okay. So
no, I don't mind that.
Takeouts. We're deleting the creative suite completely. We're just going to use CapCut on our phones and light tweaks on our phones as well to edit photos, and maybe just write something on it with our finger phone post, and we're done.
I do think there's something in spending more time on thinking about where you can take a photo, like location and how to make a difference, as opposed to sitting in front of your computer trying to make a really cool photo, like a manipulated photo.
Well, it's also similar to what we were talking about last week, and I think you brought it up, Edwin. Like, do fans actually care about overly, like from a sports perspective anyway, do fans actually care about the graphics, or is it just something that we do in the industry to make ourselves interested, which is okay. Like that's an okay reason to do something. But what's the payoff?
Yeah, they don't care, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I was hoping for a bit more
argument
there, but
maybe we just need to, next time what we'll do is, if we notice something that pops up in the week that we're going to disagree on, we'll get you back on and we can have a genuine fight.
Yeah, I was hoping we could do this in real life and actually properly
Hockey style. We'll get a photographer there as well.
Yeah.
Well, last week we said that even if you don't disagree with us, we should dial you in to have a real passionate stance against whatever we're saying. So even if you personally agree with us, you've got to take the other side.
I don't want to do that.
Because I don't want to do what you tell me.
All right.
Let's wrap this up.
Here. This has been fun, guys. Thanks, Edwin. Thanks for joining us. Thank you to you again, Jules, for joining me on my podcast.
I didn't even welcome you to this podcast. I just went straight to Edwin.
That's right. I'll outro you. No, it's been fun. Any lasting words from either of you?
Oh, Edwin, you got one tip to leave us on. One thing we should be watching out for in the social media world. That's what I want from you.
He's putting on the spot.
Oh, you should know.
Yeah, I've given away a lot of free advice. I think we all have today. It should have been a paid session for everyone that's listening. Free advice. Share this podcast with your friends because it's a really good listen.
Smart.
Love that. We'll take it.
Oh, isn't that nice? All right,
For
thank you.
everyone listening, where can they find you, Edwin? Where should people be looking to find some more advice from you?
Yeah, so at the Social Sandwich on Instagram is where I do a lot of stuff, and then I always know that I just have Social Sandwich _ on Twitter, which hits me to no end, but I couldn't get the Social Sandwich. Whoever the Social Sandwich is on Twitter.
Who is it?
Get my
I don't.
What do they do?
I don't think it's active, so maybe I might have to hit Elon Musk up and get him to get my handle back.
Old overlord.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun spending my Sunday morning with you. I'll see you again in 2 years when you invite me back.
You've got to spread it out. No, thank you for joining us. Thanks for listening, everyone. Love you. Gonna leave you. Goodbye.
Bye.